Yeah, let's start the show. Hey, thanks for clicking on this video. My name's Lou. I'm an avid tournament angler, bass fisherman, kayak angler, somebody who just wishes he could be fishing every day of the week. So if that reminds you of yourself, go ahead and click that subscribe button down below. Also head over to Instagram, give me a follow over there at Beyond the Bounds Outdoors. And if you like this video and this video topic, go ahead and smash that thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. Today we're going to go over some of the common complaints that I hear from other co-anglers. Alrighty guys, so being a co-angler can be a lot of fun. And I've done events from New York all the way down to Florida as a co-angler. And there have been plenty of days out there to where it's been feast or famine, and mostly a lot of famine. Like, that's one of the things you have to get through your head, and especially being a co-angler. Maybe you have your own boat, maybe you have maybe you go fishing a lot, maybe you're just a solid stick, you don't have a boat, so this is the only way that you can get out there, right? You gotta approach being a co-angler with a different mentality. When you're in control of the boat, you can go up there, you can make your own mistakes, you can make your own decisions, you can get your own wins, and you can choose how the day goes, right? So if you're used to fishing by yourself, maybe out of a kayak, maybe out of your own John boat, maybe however you do it, the fact is that when you give up that control to somebody else, it creates this situation to where you're uncomfortable, to where there's stress, to where you've now paid money for something and things aren't going your way and you can't change that. And that's why I'm making this series of videos, because I really want to prepare you for that situation. You know, and let me give you a few examples. I had an event on the upper Chesapeake Bay. I fished behind a guy who caught 17 pounds. You know how much I caught? Probably a pound, and I had to throw it back because it wasn't 15 inches, so I couldn't even keep it, right? And I watched this guy flip laydowns, and he positioned the boat incredibly fairly. And I had just as much time to flip the laydowns, and I was downsizing things, and I couldn't catch a daggum bite. I don't know. I mean, I was using fluorocarbon. I was using small presentations. It didn't happen, right? Actually had that happen on Thousand Islands. Fished behind Eric Luzak. And you know what? His co-angler the first day caught like 20-something pounds. Me, I caught like 2 fish that kept. I ended up throwing them back because I was like, well, this ain't going to get me to the third day, so no sense in keeping them. And that's kind of what I'm going after here with this, is that, you know, one of the common complaints is that, you know, he's not fishing the way that I like. Like, I even heard this from a co-angler that I had. He was like, man, I'm just not used to this kind of fishing. And I've heard other people say this on my boat as well. Like, you should be trying to learn all of this, guys. Like, that's why you become a co-angler, to get put in those situations to where you can learn something new, where you can fish outside of your comfort zone. That's why you do this. You go down to Okeechobee and watch someone like Brian Thrift catch 13 pounds, and while the rest of the field struggles, and even he's struggling, right? And then, you know, your day 2 boater starts off on the exact same piece of reeds, like the exact reeds that I started on in practice down there. You know, I went down there and practiced with my own boat, hauled my whole rig, everything down there, just to run there, to get more experience on bodies of water like that. Trust me, I've never ran in 1.5 feet of water in a bass boat. Until you do that, you're just not living. All you people fishing them reservoirs, fishing up in like 60 feet of water and just being like, do. Wait till you go down to Okeechobee and run in 1.5 feet, 2 feet of water. It's a pucker moment. It's definitely a pucker moment. So just know that, you know, there's just loads of experience that you can gain from going around, getting your butt kicked, taking your licks. You know, every boater out there, every professional out there has gotten their butt mopped up on the floor just constantly, right? That's all bass fishing is. It's pretty much a lot of losing if you think about it. Look at the stats and tell me it's not a lot of losing. There's one guy that wins. There's 150 other guys that don't. Plain and simple, right? One co-angler, 150 other guys that don't. And as a co-angler, you're put in a situation where you have no control. The number 2 complaint, you know, is that I hear is that he wasn't on fish. Like I said, I went down to Okeechobee, good stick sign. Brian Schmidt was there, Brian Thrift. I mean, a lot of other pros, people with some serious, now Gary Yamamoto was like people with some serious knowledge, right? And they struggled. Like, it is not all fishing your farm pond, you know, fishing small little lake, fish in a barrel kind of thing. When you open it up to big water, the hardness, the difficulty gets exponential at times. And, you know, the best anglers struggle. They don't always figure it out. So, you know, you're going to run into situations to where your guy just isn't on fish and just isn't on the right pattern. Maybe hasn't spent enough time. Maybe it's a BFL. He only came in for 2 days and, you know, he's just out there winging it to see what he can make happen. Because that absolutely happens, right? Not every guy spends an entire week out there practicing for a BFL or some smaller event. So just keep that in mind when, you know, when your boater isn't on fish. I was backboated. Oh man, this one's going, it's going to ruffle some feathers here, everybody. But, you know, let me tell you something. You know, to me, to make the claim of being backboated, like the boater really has to strive, like spend all day striving to keep you off fish. And don't get that confused with he wasn't on fish. No, when he is doing everything, and I mean everything possible to keep you off fish. You know, I'm going to do a whole series or a whole video just on this one topic. And I can't wait to get all the hate mail from it. But you know what? It absolutely happens. And all you have to do is read some of the comments on the video that I posted up about being backboated. And you'll see that there are plenty of boaters who give two poops about you, who think you're just the worst thing on the planet. They don't really even want you on the boat. They will absolutely probably tell you to the face, like, what you want, I don't care. I'm here for me. And you know what? I think that's just a bad way to go about things. I think if you just position the boat fairly, whether you catch fish or not, if you're parallel on a bank, parallel a bank. Don't just sit there and point the front of the boat at the bank the whole dang time. You know, don't edge into a grass mat. Like, this is what the guy did to me at the 7th hour on the final day of a coaster, right? Edges into the mat, starts plucking out fish just left and right. Big wad of school in there. You know, I've got 0 fish in the back. Pulls out on the mat, pulls right back into the mat. 7 hours have already passed, been backboated all day long. He's still doing this, right? So, you know, that is being incredibly unfair to the person in the back. But guys, I want you to know, it might happen to you. I was a co-angler for 2 years, and I can tell you that happened once. But I've heard plenty of other horror stories about other co-anglers having that happen. So, you know, just keep that in mind, that how are you going to deal with that when it happens? But also, do try to remember, especially at that level, especially at like a Costa and Toyota series level, the amount of money that somebody's invested in that is around $4,000 to $5,000 on the boater end. And a lot of the time, their view of how the co-angler is the co-angler, you know, I've seen them fly in the night before the tournament, show up the day of the tournament after getting their text message and everything, and being like, okay, how are we fishing for them? What are we using? You know, where are we fishing at? It's like, dude, I just spent $5,000 to try to win this tournament. And now you want me to give you every information when I have no idea who you're traveling with, no idea who you're going to share this information with. Some of them aren't going to do that. And the last one, guys, is the he didn't listen to me complaint. You know, a lot of people complain that I was never of the one of like, hey man, you should go here. I practiced in Okeechobee for a week, man. I was excited to see where that guy went. And we went and fished on day one. I went and fished a canal right next to Roland Martin. So I was like, well, shoot, I bet you that guy knows where he's doing, and he was there. So, you know, I bet he's got a little information. I don't know about you, but I bet so. Anyway, you know, I was excited to see where he fished, and he actually was in close proximity to Roland Martin, so that was pretty cool. Then he fished a Ned rig all day, and let me tell you, that's pretty hard to fish behind. And I didn't catch anything, but I saw how he kind of kept himself in that, and I learned that situation. So, guys, it's majority of the time, I mean, me as a boater, and, you know, if I draw a co-angler who's like, hey, yeah, I'm local, like I did up on Sandusky, I was like, hey, we're going to hit my spot first, but after that, we're going to run to your spot. You're going to have ability to cast wherever you want. I'll give you the 360 up at the front, which I did. You can see the boulders and everything all around the boat. I don't care. It's your spot. That's how we're going to play that. And that's exactly how we played that. They're not always going to listen to you, but keep that in mind that, again, they've invested the money. I would rather make my mistakes based on my decisions and my experience than take a chance on a co-angler's where he might have caught fish 2 years ago or where he might have some good experience. Now, I've seen plenty of people do very well by listening to their co-anglers, and I've even helped my boaters catch fish because, even as a co-angler, I practiced for a week long. So I was able to even put some boaters on there. But don't get upset when they don't want your information. Matter of fact, they don't really even want to hear it unless they ask for it. I've had boaters ask for it. I've had boaters say, hey man, if there's any place you might want to go after this, let me know. And when presented with that, I actually turned them down. I turned that particular boater down simply because I didn't want to interfere with where my travel partner might be fishing. And since I traveled with him and fished with him, I didn't want to share that information. That's also a good point there too, is as a co-angler, you are not allowed, it's in the rules, it's in the rules that you are not allowed to share that information for where your day one boater might have took you in a multi-day event. So keep that in mind, and keep that in mind when, again, they're just not listening to you or they don't want to hear it, right? They've invested the money. Allow them to make their mistakes, fish and try to learn behind them, fish and try to adapt as much as possible, and you'll have a great day. Guys, keep that mental game in check. Keep that don't back up, don't back down mental attitude, and I guarantee you, you're going to walk away with some good experience and, maybe find out that, hey, you're ready to take this on. You're ready to step up to the front. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Going to keep going on with this co-angler series. It's all in a playlist. So if you're interested in joining a tour this year, go check that playlist out. I'm going to keep going and doing other things, especially reviewing this Ego tackle bag that's right behind me. Going to post up a review on that sometime soon. As always, guys, don't back up, don't back down. We'll see you around.